It's just common sense. We now refer you to common sense and its near neighbor, self-regulation. Some aspects of this are 1. Cultural hegemony, the dominance of one social or ruling class over a culturally diverse society so that their worldviews become social norms or common sense. 2. Otherness, that which is outside of socially constructed universal norms. 3. Behavioral control and modification responding to situation. Look around you at the building, the walkways. Are there any trees? What color are the window frames on the building to the left of you? Who is walking down the street? Gemeinsam. We translate this as public spirit, a sense of community, a common sense. A layer of common sense has now been made apparent, and it sits within each one of you. Common sense is a cornerstone of regulation. It is common sense that you do not wish to risk food poisoning when you eat your favorite takeaway. It is common sense to choose a side of the road on which to drive down and enforce this with regulation. The highway code, for example. In England, Scotland, and Wales, cars must drive on the left. A common sense and indeed arbitrary regulation. But let us unpick these phrases arbitrary and common sense. Driving on the left has its foundation in the dominance of right-handedness. In the Middle Ages, you needed your sword hand free to fight your foes coming in the other direction. Not so arbitrary then. And common sense? Only a quarter of the world drives on the left, and almost all of them former British colonies. Indeed, driving on the left was deemed such an expression of British colonialization that after the War of Independence, the United States of America changed to driving on the right as a rejection of old world customs. Could the regulation of driving on the left, seemingly common sense and arbitrary, in fact be an assertion of cultural hegemony? The worldview of a dominant group made a cultural form. The worldview of a dominant group made a cultural norm. Murder, a straightforward, morally centered regulation. Common sense. It is against the law to kill another person. Murder, enshrined in the Homicide Act of 1957, is defined thus: the unlawful killing of a reasonable person in being under the king or queen's peace with malice aforethought express or implied. An enemy killed during a designated time of war is not murder, as they are deemed not under the Queen's peace. Who decides whom the enemy is? Surely this is clear-cut and common sense. The IRA, terrorists, or liberating army of an invaded country. How is common sense expressed where you are standing now? How is common sense expressed where you are standing now? The reality guide will now activate the next participant zone.